Hello and welcome to The Print. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Mr. Tejasvi Surya, the Bengaluru South Member of Parliament. He's been speaking a lot about increasing, access to public transport and speaking out against projects like the tunnel roads and other projects which he calls vanity projects. Now, thank you so much for joining us, Tejasvi. So let me start, get to this one. What do you think is wrong with the tunnel project that's being proposed by the Deputy Chief Minister and the state government?
Well, thank you, Sharan, for this opportunity. Um, the tunnel road project is economically unviable. Two, it is environmentally disastrous because no environment impact assessment is done, even cursorily. Third, and most importantly, a large amount of money is sought to be spent to serve a very small elite section, car owning section in the society, which will not solve the purpose of actually solving the traffic situation in the city, the purported reason why the project is being made. So, on all of these three counts, this is a no-go project. The tunnel road project essentially is a two-phase, a 16-kilometer and a 25-kilometer, two tunnels, north and south and east and west, at a whopping 43,000 crore rupees. So, the DPR for the first stage is out in public, and once it was made public, there was a huge hue and cry by environment experts, urban planners, and people with common sense, because there were so many errors in the DPR. The DPR was done in undue haste. In less than 2.5 months, the entire DPR exercise was for such a complex project was completed. Then the traffic surveys that is mandatory for making a project of this scale, it was a cut and paste job of what BMRCL had done. So they did not do any independent traffic surveys. Next, in some instances, the numbers that they quoted was not even of traffic in Bangalore. There are traffic survey reports quoted in the DPR for this project that are from Malegaon. When citizens raised anger against this, the BBMP put a 5 lakh rupee penalty on these consultants who prepared the DPR. And let me remind you that the consultants who were involved in this exercise, in both the feasibility report making and the DPR, both have a very shady past. In more than 2 states in India, they were once blacklisted, and there is some litigation going on. It's before the court, etc. Then, after the Silkiara tunnel collapse, the government of India came up with a set of framework, guidelines, an SOP on how tunnels must be made. Environment impact assessment is a mandatory criteria because it's an extremely complex exercise. Okay. The whole tunnel making process. So, without doing adequate soil testing, without doing enough study on the geological impact, the hydrological impact on the aquifers, you cannot simply start, boring, a hole in the tunnel, in the ground. You can't do that. What the state has done in the DPR is they have declared themselves that we don't need an environment impact assessment for this project. Very, very strange. Again, shows why they are in this undue haste. Third, and more concerning, is the alignment of the tunnel. The tunnel proposes to start in Mekri Circle, the north of the city, and goes through the peninsular genesis rock in Lalbagh, which is a 300 million years old rock, one of the oldest rock formations in the country. Correct. There are many scientists, geologists, like Dr. Suresh Moona and others, who have been saying that if you cut through this rock without adequate, studies and engineering solutions, it may have many seismological impacts for the city as well, and it may also have an impact on the a Lake Bund, the Lalbagh Lake Bund, the water table of the city in one of these places, at least do a proper study. Now, that is also not done. And then the state government, according to the DPR, wants to take 6.5 acres of land in Lalbagh and another portion of land in Sankey Tank in the north to provide for the entry and exit ramps from this tunnel. Now, these are one of the last remaining lung spaces of the city, and you can't be taking 6 acres of Lalbagh. Now, then leave all of these aside. And then what is even more strange about this project that is supposed to solve traffic is that only cars is allowed in this tunnel. There is no provision for two-wheelers, no provision for auto rickshaws, no provision for buses, no provision for any other sort of vehicles, only cars. So this is a car-only tunnel. And the DPR proposes that you need to charge a minimum of 660 rupees as toll. Now, this is not a intra-city tunnel. I mean, intercity, toll that, once in a month or once in 3 months, you go and to a different city. But this is an everyday transport tunnel, everyday usage tunnel. So in a month, somebody is expected to pay 20,000 rupees as toll.
Just to use that.
Just to use it. So this is only for cars, but being built using 43,000 crore rupees of everybody's taxpayer money. Even a pedestrian is paying tax. Somebody using a two-wheeler is also paying tax. Somebody using a metro and bus is also paying tax. But none of them are even allowed to entry into this. Second, the toll is so exorbitant, even at this proposed stage, that it makes it a VIP corridor. Only the rich and mighty can use this. And then, world over, we have seen that more roads, whether it is elevated flyovers or whether it is tunnel roads or even simply widening of roads, existing roads, we have seen world over in multiple cities that this is not the solution for addressing traffic congestion. Cities like Seoul in South Korea are actually dismantling their old flyovers and building more denser underground metro networks and making the surface area more pedestrian friendly and more active mobility options are being incorporated. So that is where the world is moving towards. And then you are spending 43,000 crore rupees for what? 35 kilometers of road. Now, the government's argument is that this is the one-stop solution for all Bangalore, traffic problems. You already have a few 1,000 kilometers of road in the city, and the city is unlivable because of the traffic, with 1,000 kilometers of road already existing. Now, how will this additional 35 kilometers of this super premium, super expensive road, how will it, like a magic wand, solve all traffic problems of the city in its entirety, like it's being sold? So these are actually the fundamental problems with this exercise. There is no consultative process. Citizens are not being taken into confidence. Urban planners, experts.
So why do you think that, the government, especially, the Deputy Chief Minister, he seems very keen on implementing this project? Why do you think that is? I mean, if they've had so many, expert committees asking them to drop the project, why do you think he's been pushing for it?
Well, his stated reason, of course, is that he wants to leave a legacy for the city. And he says that this project, one of the Kannada channels I heard him say, he says that, for the next 100 years, people will remember him if this project is successful. And which is why he is, very keen. This is at least what he says. Now, I met him. I requested him that, this is the wrong project to fall behind, to leave a legacy. And that he is being wrongly advised by people that this is the project that he should put his might behind. Now, there are two ways people can be remembered after 100 years also. Either you contribute something so good that people will remember you even after 100 years that you made something so great. The other way is that, even after 100 years, people will say that this man was there and he created this blunder for the city. My very sincere request with him, being a well-wisher, is that if he intends really to leave behind a legacy for the city, let him consider investing his energy on making Bengaluru a 300-kilometer metro city with a 3-minute frequency, making Bengaluru a 320 kilometers suburban rail city. Just these two projects will have great impact on the city. If the objective truly is to decongest the city and provide a solution for the city's congestion, traffic, then the approach should be to move people from private transport to public transport, reduce the dependency on private vehicles, free up our roads, and the focus should be on moving more people and not more cars. So let him focus on leaving a legacy, otherwise this project will be a scar, not a legacy. Now, how do you make cities more livable? Now, there are examples of cities like Tokyo, which have almost twice the population as Bangalore does. And they have managed their mobility in a brilliant fashion. How have they done it? The substantial chunk of the taxpayers' money is spent on building mass rapid transport solutions. Metros, trams, suburban rails. These are the major chunk where public infrastructure, public money is spent to build. Bangalore, unfortunately, in comparison to, say, Mumbai or Chennai, though we have a rail infrastructure around us, we don't have a suburban rail network at all. Mumbai today, for example, has more than 450 kilometers of suburban rail. Our metro connectivity is also very small compared to how large the city is.
Yes.
After, last so many years, in 2014, the metro connectivity in the city was only 7 kilometers. Today, we have 95 kilometers of metro. But this is again very small compared to how much we need. The comprehensive mobility plan said before 2031, we must have a 300-kilometer metro. We are not even close to it. The object should be how many people can we move per kilometer, per direction, per hour, and not how many cars. Now, in this tunnel road case, IISc Center for Mobility made a simulation study. And what did the study say? In this project, you can move 1,800 people per hour per direction. This is the tunnel road project. If the same tunnel is dug and if you put a metro there, you can move 69,000 people, 40 times more people. So in a dense country like ours, densely populated country like ours, should we not be spending every single rupee on solutions that help us move more people than more cars? So Bengaluru was a walking city. Today you don't have don't have 500 meters of proper footpath. So you want us to believe that you will in 50 months complete a extremely complex engineering project when you can't complete flyovers on time. There are 50 plus projects pending that are delayed by an average of 4 to 5 years. The government has missed 3 of its own deadlines to fill potholes. I mean, imagine, Sharan, in 21st century, India's tech city, the CM and deputy CM, the chief secretary, the entire state's apparatus are out on the streets trying to fix potholes. The headlines of the city is, this week we are filling 3,000 potholes, next week we are filling 4,000 potholes. Where has governance collapsed to?
See, even in 2016, there was this proposal for a steel bridge, 6.7 kilometer steel bridge between Chalukya and Hebbal. Now, the Congress, of course, there were protests and the Congress dropped that. But when the BJP came to power, they tried to, revive that project. Now, will the tunnel road be another steel bridge where once governance changes, the government changes, or the party changes, will you all then look at the tunnel road as or try to make it viable?
Sharan, the problem is that even when governments change, the people who come and advise the people who come to government remain the same. So this is not just restricted to the steel bridge project. It is pretty much the same in every other policy, every other decision of the governments everywhere. India's urban planning needs a relook. See, this is not a problem that is unique to Bengaluru alone. The intensity may be more here, but name a city that does not have traffic jams today. Delhi has such bad traffic jams. Every Indian city has the same problem. So it is not that, if today, there are some arguments, people are saying that, Delhi is exploring some tunnel idea, some other city is making some tunnel idea. Well, if they are doing something wrong, it doesn't mean that we should also do something wrong. It doesn't make your wrong right. We are an extremely populous country. We cannot go the America way of every person owning a car. The car owning percentage of people in Bengaluru, as per the data released by the Road Transport Ministry of Government of Karnataka in 2025, is 14%. So if 14% people own cars or private vehicles, and this is the state of affairs, imagine with increasing prosperity. Now, buying a car has become so easy. 50,000 rupees, if you do down payment, you will get a loan. So if the number of people who buy cars will naturally increase with increasing economic prosperity, imagine if 50% of the city has cars and comes on the streets, what will you do? After the yellow line got commissioned, the deputy chief minister posted a tweet because there was a credit war about who should get, etc. Then he said, we did the yellow line, 37% reduction in traffic. Now, within weeks after commissioning of yellow line, if you are seeing a 37% reduction in traffic in Silkport, one of the most notorious junctions, should you not then be investing every single rupee, such a scarce resource, not that we have 43,000 crore rupees lying extra that we can waste on this? Should you not be using every rupee of taxpayers' money to further strengthen the metro network? Why is the government not doing something for which evidence exists, experience exists? You don't even have to take examples from Tokyo and Seoul for this. You have it right here in your backyard.
We've had the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari also speak about tunnel roads. Recently, Mr. D.K. Shivakumar claimed that Manohar Lal Khattar also supported the tunnel road. So when the BJP's union government are also talking about tunnel roads, and Mumbai has just spoken about bringing about a 70-kilometer tunnel road as well, is it then opposing a project in Karnataka but saying yes to it elsewhere?
No, it is not like that. The tunnel road projects in Mumbai, the last time I checked, at least the one that is now there is an undersea tunnel, the one that is now already commissioned. And the other two tunnels are connecting Borivali and Thane and the twin tube tunnels, and it is going under the Sanjay Gandhi National Park. So it's to protect a forest, protected forest. Here you want to take 6.5 acres of Lal Bagh. I mean, it is absolutely the other way around. Then, if tunnel roads is the way you approach solving urban congestion, or see that as a replacement to elevated corridors or flyovers, then it is a far, far more expensive solution than elevated corridors or flyovers. What is a tunnel road at the end of the day? It is another piece of road. First, you brought flyovers and said that flyovers are going to solve all the problems of the city. We have seen in our own experience that flyovers have only shifted
The gridlock.
congestion point or gridlocks from point A to point B. Just last week, the Hebbal flyover was opened with much fanfare. The jam that was happening earlier at Columbia, Asia, is now shifted to Baptist Hospital. In Silk Board and this double decker from Silk Board, the jam has now been shifted to Ragigunda. And this is not experience unique to Bangalore. This is an experience all around the world. In fact, many urban mobility experts say that building a flyover in today's day and age in a city is a crime. It's a crime on a city. They want to now build monstrous flyovers even in Mysore, a city that is so beautiful and calm and this thing. So you want to go and spoil that as well.
So then, they've also you're somebody who's spoken a lot for metro, the fare revision, and everything. But nor is the metro keeping pace. I mean, the construction has been some 7 or 8 kilometers per year. We have very less operational lines. So then, I mean, as people continue to wait, the delays are just forcing people on private transport again. Correct?
Yes, very unfortunate. The suburban rail project was supposed to be completed in 40 months.
Correct.
The state government in the last 2.5, almost 3 years now, they have not appointed a full-time director because that is the priority. Land acquisition delays. Then for a long time, even now if you go to metro and you ask them each project, each blue line, orange line, red line, every project that you take, on an average is delayed by 4.5 to 5 years. What is even more worrisome, Sharan, is the cost escalation that takes place. Now, every month or every year it is delayed. You increase it by 2%, 3%. You are speaking of a few thousand crores. And then in that period, people are being forced to buy private vehicles. Imagine the environment impact on this. Imagine the economic cost of this, the depreciation value of the assets. People would have otherwise used the same money to do something else. So the focus should be on a war mission, on a war footing, on a mission mode. We will finish metro projects. We will finish the suburban rail. We will give it all the adequate resources needed. That is what we will do. But that is not what the state is doing.
Okay.
And it seems like there is a war against public transport. This government had banned carpooling. Can you believe that? In a city like Bengaluru, you have a government banning carpooling, where citizens are coming together and trying to solve this problem and go from point A to point B in a more easier fashion. You ban that. You ban bike taxis. You are not providing for any support to. There are so many software startups coming up like Nammayatri and others, who want to provide a platform where you can have multimodal integration at your fingertips. You are not providing data. While Metro has provided them data to integrate with their app, BMTC has not. They have struggling from last 1 year. They are struggling. So you are making this war against public transport is making life hell for citizens. You have increased metro fare by 105%. Bengaluru Metro is the highest in the country today. What baffles me is, I have been at it for almost 3 full months now. The BMRCL was not ready to even release their fare fixation committee report, which is a public document. As a member of parliament, I had to go to the High Court through a writ petition to get them to release it. And then once it is released, there are so many mathematical errors, glaring mathematical errors that are there. Instead of calculating 2017 and 2018 as the base year, they have calculated 2016 as the base year. Instead of calculating 42 kilometers as for the operational cost for the O&M, you have taken 30 kilometers. So there are some glaring errors that people are pointing out. What baffles me, Sharan, is the same distance in Mumbai has 50% less fare than Bangalore. The same distance in Delhi has 50% less fare than Bangalore. How? This is just cruel.
So, I mean, I was also part of that meeting that you were yesterday. So, the BMRCL have almost, they've said they can't downward revise the fare itself. So,
Yes, because what will the officers there commit? Can they say that if the state government wants to increase the fare, if the chief ministers and the deputy chief ministers' directions are that the fare should be increased,
hmm,
can they in public yesterday in front of media and everybody, can they say that no, we are going to unilaterally commit to revisioning the fares? They can't.
okay.
So we have pointed out very clearly that there are glaring errors. You were there in the meeting, you saw them saying that yes sir, this is, then they say this is a matter of interpretation. Now these are the lived harsh realities for people in Bengaluru. If you are a two-wheeler rider, you go out on the streets, the potholes are so bad that even in a car you feel like you are going in a bullock cart. That's how bad the roads are. Just in 1 month, 4 people have died because of potholes. Now, in any other developed country, this would have been a crime. The GBA or the BBMP has not even offered 5 rupees of compensation to the families. The contractor is not hauled up. Now, I mean, sometimes I wonder, is this some kind of a banana republic here in Bangalore? What is happening?
But isn't, I mean, was it any different with any other party in power then? Because the BJP was in power for 10 years when the BBMP was there, from 2010 to 2020. We've not had elections since then. Was it any different? I mean, we've had the same problem.
I will say this that way in a very candid fashion, because when it comes to issues of Bengaluru, I have been at least trying to take the debate to a apolitical level and beyond party lines, so that the city gets better. I would say that this is the worst we have seen. Was it better? Yes, it was better. But was it the best? No, we could have certainly done better. But what we are facing today in Kannada, we say it's Naraka Yatane. It is hellish. That is what currently we are witnessing. And should we have conducted BBMP elections on time? Of course we should have. But does the GBA solve the problem? It does not. You had one powerless mayor who was only ceremonial in nature. Now you have 5 powerless ceremonial mayors. So you have not solved the problem in any way. The GBA is essentially, the power of the GBA is essentially centered in a executive council, which is headed by the deputy chief minister. And as members of the council, Sharan, you will be surprised, even the mayors of the 5 corporations are not members of the executive council. So there is no, this is re-centralization in the garb of decentralization. This is what is the GBA exercise.
So we've also seen in the last few months, especially, that we've had Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Mohandas Pai, and other startup CEOs and others raising concerns about Bangalore. And then we've seen neighboring states. We've seen this in the past with Telangana. Now we're seeing it with Andhra Pradesh. For starters, has the airing of these concerns now, have they been adequately addressed by the government?
Well, to be very honest, you saw how after both Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw and Mohandas Pai were repeatedly airing these, citizens, amplifying the citizens' distress, how the entire Congress party and the government and ministers, the entire ecosystem went after them, calling them names, asking them, they are not Bangaloreans, they're not Kannadigas, questioning their contribution. It was this hounding of achievers and people who have actually contributed to the city. And then the deputy chief minister called them for a dinner meeting. And after that, I don't see them tweeting as aggressively as they were doing earlier. I hope that the meeting was productive in the sense that he has given them enough assurances that things will be better on the ground. But we don't see any change on the ground. And we hope that citizens, leaders' voices like Mr. Pais or Ms. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw's or any other people, their voices are not curtailed in any fashion. Because what are they doing? They are only amplifying the grouse of the common Bengalurian.
One point I'd asked earlier was, we've seen other states, Nara Lokesh from Andhra Pradesh, KTR earlier, from Telangana, trying to get, every time someone airs a grievance, they're quick to say, come to, come set up shop here. Do you think it's justified that they do that, and the state government's reaction? Do you think it's justified? Do you
Well,
think
see, Sharan, this is in addition to cooperative federalism, this is also competitive federalism. So if the states there realize that there is a problem here and they can address it in a better way and attract investment better, they are doing their job. Like, how can you fault them for being more active, being more dynamic? What are you doing? Why are you not able to retain talent, bring more investments? They are going because you are not offering what they are offering.
So, but Priyank Kharge made an allegation on this as well, saying that, investments that was semiconductor investments in particular that were supposed to come to Karnataka, 2 or 3 of them, have been diverted by the PMO to states like Gujarat and Assam. So, what do you make of that? Because he's making this very categorically. He's a cabinet minister making this statement.
Well, see, this is one of those rare occasions where he's speaking about a subject that his ministry is directly involved. Otherwise, he's generally busy in banning RSS and such stuff. So these are multi-billion-dollar investment decisions, and they are made by people at the helm of affairs in those companies and those organizations, private organizations, based on multiple factors. It's not because PMO told him to go there. Decisions are not made that way. Decisions are made on the basis of, at the end of the day, the profitability of the company, the support that they will get from these state governments, land, electricity, labor, ease of doing business. These are the multiple reasons. So now you tell me, please go and ask Priyank Kharge this question. Now forget these semiconductor investments. Why are electric vehicle companies that are incorporated in Bangalore shifting their factories to Hosur? Now in Tamil Nadu, you don't have a BJP government, unlike in your example of, or Priyank Kharge's example of Gujarat and Assam. Why are they going there? You now certainly cannot allege that the PMO is telling them to go to Tamil Nadu to help DMK. So why are you make they have their software company here, or their corporate headquarters here, but their manufacturing arm goes to Tamil Nadu. There are some companies, so many of them that have met me earlier, we have tried to help them, and they say, the kind of corruption, the kind of difficulty that you find in Karnataka, we want to cross the border from Attibele and go to Hosur. See, let them answer. Forget these semiconductor businesses or Google AI. You are not able to retain simple electric vehicle manufacturing of Bangalore-based companies here. And now you are saying it is because of some other reason.
So, but I don't want to make that this one. I don't want to get back on that point. But just asking on the semiconductor part itself, the allegation was particular that if any company wants to avail certain benefits or incentives under the National Semiconductor Mission, they would have to then get their land allotted, then tell the central government, and the central government would say they would give their approval, and the benefit of that would go to them. So you just said that they invest based on better ecosystems and better support from. So do you think that states like Gujarat and Assam have better support ecosystems for such companies, and I'm only talking technical grounds, than let's say a Karnataka?
Sharan, when a company is making decisions, these are all billion-dollar investments. It is not just technical talent, which Bangalore has in abundance to offer. Like I said, there are multiple other factors that go into making that company successful, which are essentially subjects that come under the state government, which are land, which are electricity, which are the local municipal permissions, labor related issues. So these are also as important a factor as availability of technical talent. Now, if a private company is making a call that, considering in totality all of these factors, this place is much better. Availability of raw materials. These are all essentially manufacturing companies. Availability of water. If they feel that in these places these are being provided for in a much easier fashion, then it is for the private company to go there. Now, which is why I go back to my fundamental question. If you are not able to retain, not attract the manufacturing arm of a electric vehicle company which is incorporated in Bangalore, which has its design center in Bangalore, but they are so keen that they want to cross Karnataka's border and set up something in Tamil Nadu. Why is it? It is because of your problems, the corruption in the state, the lack of ease of doing of business in the state, the harassment that they are subjected to, the amount of time it takes to get things approved. You go to Harohalli industrial area, talk to the manufacturers there, see the kind of challenges that they face. Talk to them once, they will tell you. So when you have a problem in your own backyard, in your corruption, in your department, your corruptions, then you now can't say it is because of the central government, it is PMO which is telling go to Bihar, go to Jharkhand or Assam or Gujarat.
Quickly, last couple of political questions I would like to ask you. Also, you just spoke about the RSS ban that the government has imposed. Why do you think so? And how are you going to fight this?
Well, the government's orders have not found any support in the High Court of Karnataka. In both the matters, the orders have been stayed, and the suspension in the case of the person who participated in the RSS route march has been also, the suspension also is stayed. This is a slap on the face of the government. So this is not the first time that this, RSS ban thing has come about. RSS, the governments, hostile governments earlier tried to ban RSS. But the RSS we have seen has only grown stronger. The acceptance of the society at large has only increased. And these are honestly distractions from the state of, affairs of the government in the Karnataka. There is absolute, neck deep levels of corruption in every department. Almost 51 different headings of everyday essentials has increased in the state because of the increase in the taxation or the cess, etc., that the state has done. Registrations, taxes, milk prices, whatever is there in their hands, metro fares, everything they have increased. And people are literally dying on the streets of Bengaluru because of potholes. So instead of addressing any of these governance issues, this banning of RSS or this, they are all diversionary tactics.
But do you support that someone in government service, someone serving in government, can actually be associated with a party, an organization? Is it okay for them to do so, according to you?
The civil service rules are very clear about it. That a civil servant or a public servant or a government servant cannot partake in political party activities. There are multiple judgments given by a multitude of high courts across the country that the RSS is not a political organization, that it is a cultural organization, it is a nationalist social organization. So people's participation in that has been upheld by many constitutional courts. It is not a matter of debate anymore.
But Priyanka Kharge said that they've not even provided their proof of registration. Where have they registered? No details of their funding, and these are the questions he's been asking.
Well, Sharan, I don't want to answer, glorify his questions by providing them a response. The matters are now before the court. In the interim stage, the state has suffered in both the cases. I am very confident that when the judgment comes, all of Mr. Priyank Kharge's questions will be answered by the Constitutional Court.
Lastly, now you as the the Yuva Morcha chief, we didn't see you campaign, or rather, you're not part of the campaigners list in Bihar.
No, no,
Why
I
so?
was there in the campaign when we launched the Yuva Morcha's campaign.
Hmm.
When the party makes a campaigners list, they do it on the basis of the availability and the impact of leaders for that particular election. The party, in its wisdom, has decided that for this Bihar election, these are the leaders from Bihar and others who need to be engaged in the campaigning there. So I think I remember even the last time for I think some other elections,
Yeah.
you had tried to make an issue out of this. It is, you don't know how our party functions.
Hmm.
So a party functions based on how the party, the party's uh, inputs on during the elections at that point in time, at that geography, who should be leveraged for the most bang for the buck. So I think if you want to create I remember how last time you tried to uh, I
No,
think Print
it's a
had
fair
made this.
it's a fair question to ask,
No,
right?
it's not that all those who were, by default of your a position as national president of the Yuva Morcha, you must be on the campaign list of every single election that happens in every part of the country. This is, I think, Print's a yardstick of measuring.
No.
It is not the BJP's this thing. It's not any issue at all.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to
Thank
us.
you, Sharan.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All the best.